Every morning, you grab your keys. Maybe you say goodbye. Maybe you just quietly slip out, telling yourself it's easier that way for both of you. And then the door closes, and on the other side of that door is your dog. You've probably wondered, at some point, maybe more than you'd admit, what happens to him after you leave. Does he sit at the door for an hour, just waiting? Does he go straight to the couch and fall asleep like nothing happened? Does he miss you, actually miss you, or does he simply exist in the quiet without feeling much of anything? Scientists decided to find out, and what they measured inside your dog's body in the hours after you leave is something most owners are not quite prepared to hear. Most people settle into one of two beliefs. Either he's fine, dogs live in the moment. The second you're gone, he's moved on, napping on the couch, not thinking about you at all. Or he's devastated. He sits at that door until you come back, loyal and heartbroken in equal measure. Both feel like they could be true. Neither one is quite right, because what researchers actually found when they measured what happens inside a dog during separation is more nuanced and more touching than either version. And it starts with a study that finally put numbers on something most owners have only ever been able to guess at. Because it turns out missing you follows a specific pattern, one that peaks at a very specific moment and then does something surprising. In 2020, researchers at Asabu University in Japan monitored 50 dogs during periods of owner absence. They didn't ask the dogs how they felt. They measured it: heart rate, pacing, vocalizations, the biological signatures of stress, the kind of data that doesn't lie and doesn't exaggerate. The results were clear. Dogs experience real, measurable distress when their owners leave. Not calm, not neutral. Distress in their bodies, not just their behavior. And the longer the separation, the more intense the response. But here's the part that surprised me. That intensity peaks at around 2 hours. After that, it plateaus. Your dog doesn't keep getting sadder and sadder the longer you're gone. The missing reaches a kind of ceiling and stays there. He's still waiting. He still knows you're gone. But the peak of that longing arrives in the first 2 hours, which means the hardest moment for your dog is probably the one happening right now while you're at work, in a meeting, telling yourself he's probably fine. He is okay, but he got there the hard way. But behavior studies can only tell us so much. To truly understand what's happening when your dog misses you, scientists needed to look inside his brain. And what they found there changed the conversation completely. Neuroscientist Gregory Burns at Emory University did something that had never been done before. He trained dogs to lie still inside fMRI brain scanners, not sedated, awake, holding position voluntarily so researchers could observe real brain activity in real time. He then exposed them to different scents, their owners, and the scents of strangers. When the owner's scent entered the scanner, the caudate nucleus lit up, the reward center, the part of the brain associated with positive emotions, anticipation, and love. Not the presence of the person, not their voice, not their face, just their scent. Which means right now, while you're not home, every time your dog walks past your jacket, your pillow, the chair you always sit in his brain is doing something. Something that looks, on a scan, like what happens in a human brain when it thinks about someone it loves. He can't say your name. He can't call you. But your smell is in that house, and his brain responds to it the way yours responds to a memory you'd never want to lose. Think about what your house actually looks like in the hours after you leave. Not what you imagine, what the cameras have shown. Pet cameras have given dog owners something they never had before, a true window into the hours in between. And what most people see, for the first time, is something they weren't ready for. A dog who sits at the door long after the car has left. Not minutes, sometimes much longer. A dog who carries something that smells like you, a sock, a shoe, a shirt left on the floor, not chewing it, just holding it. Moving through the house with it gently in its mouth, the way you might hold something that brings you comfort. A dog who checks the door at the same time every day, the time you usually come home, as if somewhere inside him he's keeping track. These aren't dramatic behaviors. They're quiet ones. They don't look like the grief of a movie, they look like the patience of something that simply loves you and is waiting for you to come back. And what happens in his body and yours the moment you do? That's the part the research finds most remarkable. Because what happens at the moment of reunion isn't just emotional, it's chemical, and it runs in both directions. Researchers Therese Rain and Linda Keeling studied exactly what happens the moment an owner returns. They measured hormones, oxytocin, and cortisol before, during, and after reunion. Here's what they found. The instant you walk through the door, your dog's oxytocin rises. Just seeing you, before you say a word, before you kneel down, before you reach for him, his bonding hormone is already climbing. But cortisol, the stress hormone that's been elevated during your absence, doesn't fully come down until you touch him, until the reunion becomes physical. The jump, the lick, the full body press against your legs, that isn't your dog being overdramatic or poorly trained or too excitable. That's his nervous system trying to recover, trying to return to baseline after hours of elevated stress. And the only thing that completes that process, the only thing that brings the cortisol fully down is you, your hands, your presence, physical contact. The greeting he gives you every time you come home is the biological equivalent of exhaling after holding your breath for 6 hours. He's not performing, he's relieving. Here's something researchers are still working to fully understand. Does your dog know how long you've been gone? The answer appears to be partially. Dogs showed stronger reactions after longer absences, so they can distinguish a short trip from a long one. But after about 2 hours, the distinction blurs. He knows you've been gone a long time. He can't necessarily tell the difference between 6 hours and 9. What dogs seem to use, instead of a clock, is your scent. As hours pass, the traces of you in the house fade. Your smell on your pillow, your chair, the air itself. There's evidence that dogs track elapsed time by how faint your scent has become, which means every hour you're gone, he's living in a world that smells a little less like you. And he notices. Here's the reframe worth sitting with. We tend to feel guilty about the fact that our dogs miss us. The elevated cortisol, the hours at the door, the quiet house that's somehow too quiet. But here's what the science is actually telling you. The missing is the bond. A dog who didn't care wouldn't show elevated heart rate. A dog who hadn't formed a real attachment wouldn't light up his reward center at the smell of a jacket. The fact that your dog misses you isn't a problem to fix. It isn't evidence that something is wrong. It's evidence of something that took 15,000 years to build, and that your dog carries with him every single hour you're away. While you're in a meeting, or stuck in traffic, or just going through your day without thinking much about it, he's there, in the quiet, carrying something that smells like you. Waiting, not because he was trained to, not because he has no other option, because somewhere in the biology of this animal, in the same reward centers, the same bonding hormones, the same ancient systems that run in us, you matter to him. Specifically, irreplaceably, you. So, do dogs really miss you when you leave? Here's what the science actually says. Yes, measurably. The 2020 Azabu University study of 50 dogs showed elevated heart rate, increased pacing and vocalization during owner absence. Not metaphorical distress. Biological markers. Recorded numbers. The missing peaks, around 2 hours. After that, the intensity plateaus, but it doesn't disappear. He's still waiting. He still knows you're gone. The hardest part just arrives early. In those first 2 hours when the house is newly quiet and your scent is still strong and he hasn't yet settled into the long patience of waiting. Brain imaging confirmed what behavior suggested. Gregory Burns' fMRI research at Emory University showed that a dog's reward center activates to his owner's scent alone. Even in your absence, the traces of you in your home are doing something real in his brain. Something measurable, something that looks, from the outside, like love. And the reunion, that explosion of tail wagging and licking and full-body joy, isn't just excitement. It's his nervous system restoring chemical equilibrium. Cortisol falling, oxytocin rising. His body returning to the baseline it can only reach when you are there. He missed you. The data says so. And honestly, he was right too. The next time you come home, the next time that door opens and he loses his mind for 30 seconds, don't rush past it. Don't walk straight to the kitchen or drop your bag or check your phone. Stay there for a moment. Let him finish. Because what just happened isn't just a greeting. It's his body finally finding its way back to the one place it always wanted to be. Tell me your dog's name in the comments and what he does the moment you walk through the door.